Hey everybody, how's it going? My name's Joe. Welcome back to SNES is Life recap number 67. Oh my god, so many games right there. Today we're covering the above. Let's start it out. Super Alfred Chicken. I was super intrigued by the name of this game. I was super disappointed in this game. It is a very standardish platformer. The graphics, I like the art style, bright, colorful, a little silly. That's okay. I love that when you die, you like explode into this puff of feathers. The problem being that you die in one hit to everything, which kind of sucks. Not only that, but there's a timer. The controls are very sloppy. Uh, there's a delay on the jump, and then the left right it felt very slippery. The music got hella repetitive. Um, it just it just didn't play well, and it was not particularly enjoyable, unfortunately. So that is a thumbs down. Next up, Sports Illustrated Championship Football and Baseball. I couldn't actually play the football game. I think I got, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes into the game and it glitched. Like everything went colors and it froze. And then I restarted it and it froze again. And then I restarted it and then you can see me restarting it. uh, and so the football game, I could not play a full game of. The graphics looked okay. I don't know if that's just an issue with the ROM or if that's an issue with the cart that they shipped. The baseball game was functionally baseball. You're going to see it here in a second. It looked average. It sounded average. It played very average. I was not particularly impressed with the Sports Illustrated Championship Football and Baseball, which is a little surprising. I mean, when a big company like Sports Illustrated puts their name on it, you would assume it would be good. So there's the sprite work, and you can see it doesn't look bad at all. The animations are slow. It feels like there's definitely missing frames in here. It felt very subpar. Um, it felt like it was smashed together very quickly, and while it was pretty, uh, the prettiest face can't make up for a bad personality, in my opinion. So you get what you got. I didn't care for it. I don't think it's worth looking up. That's a thumbs down for Sports Illustrated Championship Football and Baseball. And then we got Flashback, The Quest for Identity. This is a cinematic platformer. I think the only other one I've played was thus far was Out of This World. Well, Less for the Unlikely was semi-cinematic platformerish, and Out of This World was very. So Flashback, Quest for Identity. Graphically speaking, again, I like the color. This is just the first level of the game. I never got out of the first level. I died a lot. It's a cinematic platform, so everything moves slowly. It's very deliberate. You have to be very careful about how you're doing things, or you get fried by lasers and fire and everything else. And it's got a very heavy puzzle aspect. You have to move this way and throw a rock through this and do this first. And what happened is after about, 30 or 45 minutes of this, I got to a point where I moved an elevator and then got off and ended up falling or jumping down a floor. But the elevator was up. And I could not find a way to get the elevator to come back down. And so I was basically soft locked. Like I could not progress. I looked on the internet. I couldn't find a way to get the elevator back down. Everything that said I had to go up. And so I don't know if there was a way to get the elevator to come back down. But it irritated the out of me. And so after about 15 minutes looking online and running around, I gave up and was done for the evening. I think the game looked fine. I think the music and the sound effects were okay. The game controlled slow and deliberate, like most cinematic platformers do, but it controlled okay. It's a playable game. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend, I think, any cinematic platformer for the most part on the Super Nintendo. until I get to Blackthorn. Blackthorn I like, but it's also very, very slow, just like every other one. But I don't know, something about that game is more arcade feely to me, and this is more like PC feely to me. And the PC games that you cram onto a Super Nintendo cartridge just don't do well. I don't. I just don't care for how they are. It's personal opinion. I gave it a thumbs down. I think if you're into these style of games, you'll probably enjoy it though. So it might be worth looking up. Next up is Pro Sport Hockey. So it is a sports game. It looked okay. There was no music, of course. The controls were all right. They were acceptable. They weren't exceptional, just acceptable. Uh, I had a hard time actually checking people, but otherwise the passing and controls were okay. It's slippery, there's a real momentum issue on there. And I get it, you're on ice, but hockey players aren't that bad on ice. And in this game, it felt very bad. I've played better. I've played worse. I tried hitting people so that I could maybe try to start a fight, because I always try to do that in a hockey game. And it is super hard to actually connect with people in this game. Like, there's like 2 different buttons for check. You can like hook check or body check. And I think I only managed to actually check a dude maybe 3-4 times. Just, not great. It's a thumbs down. So I wouldn't recommend Pro Sport Hockey. Much as I wouldn't recommend many sports games. Next up is Mickey's Ultimate Challenge. Now, this is an interesting one. You're not going to see any footage because I didn't capture any. So OBS had the online broadcast software I use had an update. And I clicked start stream and started recording. And I played for 45 minutes probably. And then I decided I was done. Oh, bless me. It's basically, I got to the last challenge of the game, or the second to last challenge of the game, and it's a logic puzzle. Which is all this game was some puzzles. There's like 5 different puzzles you gotta figure out, and the first handful of them were very easy, and then the last one's kind of a logic puzzle, and I'm awful at logic puzzles. And so I tried it twice. It's a fairly long logic puzzle, and if you screw up, you basically have to figure out the puzzle, I think, like 4 different times. And I think I got to the third one, and I lost, and you have to start back over at the first one, and that's where I stopped. I was like, I'm done. The game looked okay. The animations were smooth. The music was fine. The sound effects were okay. The gameplay was very simplistic. Up until that logic puzzle, all the other stuff was very basic, very easy. It's a kid's game. The difficulties are actually in the manual. It was like, you can pick this, which is like for kindergartner through like 5th grade or 5 years old. This, which is like 6-year-old through like 15-year-old. And this, which is like 15-year-old to adult or something. So it was very designed as a family-friendly game. And it really was, like I said, until that logic nonsense, which I'm awful at. The problem is, like I said, OBS, I think what happened is it updated and lost my stream key. And so when I hit stream, it said start, but then I guess I wasn't looking close enough, and it didn't actually start. It wanted me to go back to my settings and put in the stream key again. So I played it, but apparently didn't stream it, so I have no footage. And I'm not going to do it again. That is just going to be a hole in my library. I played the game. It is a thumbs down. It is not worth getting. I was really hoping for like Castle of Illusion style or something, and definitely did not get that. So, yeah. Mickey's Ultimate Challenge thumbs. That's 5 thumbs downs. That's a really bad set of games, unfortunately. Hopefully, the 68th set of 5 will be better. I appreciate everyone who sticks with me thus far on YouTube, Twitch, etc. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoy the giant backlog of shows I've got on here. If you're just finding us, thank you very much. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Peace out, y'all.